Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish.
Let's talk no. Michael Jordan said, once I make a decision, I never thought about doing it again. Once I made a decision, never thought about doing it again. Never thought about it again. His decision was yes. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Ever heard of that one in the Bible? It's a Bible verse. I know about that. That's in James 5:12. Yeah, this is something that we need to take to heart, ladies, to heart. Because one of the things that we do is we have this imaginary audience in front of us that says, we're playing for these people who really don't give a crap. Honestly, they'd love you to do this. They'd love you to volunteer. They'd love you to take this off their plate. But sincerely, they don't care as much as you do about what they think about you. This is why we say yes all the time. This is why we say yes when we really mean no. The Bible's clear. Let your yes be yes and let your no be no. That means that you have in your mind an absolute understanding of what yes means and an absolute understanding of what no means. When we can get to this place of being very clear with it, yes, I can do that, no, I can't, then things start to shift because our priorities now are being represented right, in the right way. If you've ever felt conflicted, if you've ever felt like, oh, why did I say that? And it's a habitual pattern with you, then listen up, sister. Because, I'm talking, this is from my heart. This is from the place of understanding because I did this all the time. I feel like I lived my children's entire existence especially when they were younger, especially under 10, doing and saying yes when really I should have been saying no all the time. And I taught Bible, I taught and led women's retreats. I had I had a Christian radio show. I understood what these Bible verses said. And yet, all I thought about was the fact that everybody is looking at me and making a decision about who I am based on what I say I will do. And my mother used to say to me, Leanne, you're always dancing for everyone else. And it's true. We need to dance for ourselves. We need to dance for ourselves, and we need to represent to others who we really are by letting our yes be yes and letting our no be no. When we go into yes, we need to go into yes, that's what I want to do. And when we get into no, when it's even kind of just like, that might be all right, we need to understand that a lukewarm maybe should mean no. Because that keeps us out of that danger zone of trying to please others all the time. Because that's what it is when we're yesing all the time when we should be knowing. That's right. A friend of mine from years and years and years ago used to say that if it isn't a hell yes, then it's got to be a hell no. That's what she used to say. And she also used to tell me that when you feel your heart jump inside of you, that's when you know that it's a yes. When you feel that nudging inside of you just kind of going, I'm not sure, but that would really help somebody else out, that's when you got to know. That's when you got to know. Because when we're dancing for everyone else, you're not getting the benefit of it. You're not getting the benefit of it. And I'm going to tell you what, guess what happens? They never show up and sit in your audience. They don't. So you're sitting there knocking yourself out for everyone else and not getting what it is that you want. They don't show up, folks. They really don't. And they're not giving you another thought. And that's not because they don't love you or care about you or whatever. They're just not performing for you and you're performing for them. And this is what happens to us when we get stuck in this saying yes when we really mean no. So how do we get out of this? You know, what are the symptoms really of this? You value your time and your own values, but you're not identifying your priorities. If you value your time and you value your own values, you know, you hold them, then you've got to make those your priority and not budge. We don't move off that mark. When we don't move off that mark, that gives us super clarity. It keeps us in that place. The other thing is, when we're worried about what somebody else is saying, what is that saying about you? What is that saying about you? That you do not value your own stuff? Is that what's going on? So come on. We've got to start thinking about this. What Catherine says, that's so right. They don't sit in our audience, mind blown. It's true. Because all of this stuff that we think we know what's going on, we absolutely do not. We are completely oblivious. And we're knocking ourselves out, sweating up a storm, and then we're wondering why nobody noticed. The reason why is because they're absent. You know, they got to pass it on to you. Think about this the next time you volunteer. Think about this the next time you take on something else. Think about this if you're the first person everybody calls. Oh, give it to Angie, she'll do it. Give it to Joanne, she'll do it. You need to be that person who says no, or let me think about it. And that's one of our tactics. I'm gonna get to that place of what we can do. Because no is an automatic conflict. You know, that's one of the reasons why we avoid it. Think about it. When we say no, we're saying, somebody's going, whoa, you know. When you say no, you're saying, oh, let me give you a conflict. Instead of complying, instead of doing the nice girl thing, you've said, no, I'm not gonna do that. Well, who are you, right? So remember that. When we try to avoid conflict, that's one of the reasons why we say yes all the time when we really mean no. And when we say yes, when no means yes, you know what we're doing? We're denying ourselves the great stuff. We are. Because now something else is taking up space where the great thing that's going to come along should be. So remember this, we only have so many resources. We're human beings. We can only stretch so far. So if we're saying yes to a whole bunch of stuff that we really, on the fence about, that means that the great stuff that we want to come into our lives is not going to have room to do so. Have you ever done that? Have you ever said yes, and then something else has come along and you think, oh my gosh, I wish I hadn't have said yes because I really want to do that instead. Think about that. That's that knee-jerk reaction that we have to saying yes to please, instead of saying yes to because it's the right thing and it's a right fit for us. It's okay for it to not fit. It's okay for it to not feel good. And it's okay for us to allow the conflict for the moment of saying no. And when we say no, guess what we're going to avoid? This is so good. You're going to love this. We're going to avoid the conflict with ourselves. Because as we try to avoid all the conflict with everyone else by saying yes, then we are avoiding the conflict with ourselves. Do you see where I'm going with all of this? We've created the conflict with ourselves because now we're beating ourselves up and going, why did I say yes to that? Why did I say yes to that? So here's how we get out of it. I've got a couple of things. We learn how to say no. How about that? You ready to learn how to say no? The first one is that you learn how to cushion it. Oh my gosh, I am so flattered that you would think of me first. Thank you for thinking of me. And I'm really, I know I could probably do a pretty good job for you, but I just don't have the time. But thank you for thinking of me. There you go. Cushion it. Say something nice. Say something kind. Tell the person who's asking you, thank you for thinking of me, or whatever it is, whatever feels good. But cushion your no with something so that it's not just too direct and too abrupt and too abrasive. We don't need to be like that. I'm being abrasive simply to contrast the difference between saying yes when you really mean no. That's all I'm doing here. Number two is, if that's hard for you, then at least give yourself a moment to allow this primal monkey brain of yours to have a moment to think and get it to the prefrontal cortex where you know you should be saying no. Let me think about it. That's number two. That's how we say no. Let me think about that. I need to check with my husband. I need to check my calendar. I need to check my horoscope. I don't care. Whatever it is that you need to do, you need to give yourself some time so that you can get to this place of saying no. Buy yourself some time. That's number 2. Number 3, offer an alternative. I can't help you with that. But what I can do is make copies for you. What I can do is pray for you. What I can do is take a bag of food down to the food bank. Whatever it is, offer an alternative instead of this soul-sucking project that somebody's trying to pass off onto you. And number 4 is give a reason. And I'm going to say this very clearly, but don't lie about it. Don't say, well, I just can't do it because, everybody in my house has chicken pox. Or I just can't do it because, I'm whatever. Just don't make up a bad excuse. Just tell them the truth. Your excuse, I can't. My plate is too full right now. I can't do that right now. I can't, and then go up to number 3 if you need to, but here's something else that you can do, or call so-and-so. She was just saying the other day, man, I don't have anything to do, call them, but be careful. Just, we don't want to be, too terrible about that and get a phone call later. Why did you volunteer me? That's a thing. And number 5 is don't give false hope. This is something that I've seen a lot. And this is, well-intentioned and well-meaning, but false hope is false hope. And it's really a lie, isn't it? That might be something that I do. Let me call you tomorrow. That's false hope. Instead of let me think about it, it's very clear. You're not giving any kind of an impression that this might be something. Yeah, maybe, but probably going to happen. 90% sure, but let me get back with you. False hope. Let's tell the truth. And let's remember this, ladies, that when our yes is yes and our no is no, we're clear, we're direct, we're focused. We're focused on the things that we really want. And we're giving room in our lives to pursue those things that we really want. If you want your 2021 to look completely different, if you want your 2021 to light you up and say, yeah, that's a vibrant life, this is one exercise that we need to get a hold of. Understanding that our yes needs to mean yes and our no needs to mean no. No half-assery here. We do it full out or not at all. This black and white thing, this is the place for that. And you know what? When you do that, you are respecting yourself and you're respecting the person who's asking. Think about that. This is how we get to the place of living that high level life that we all dream about, that we all want, with vibrancy shooting out of it everywhere. I hope that was helpful for you, because this is the way that we move the needles in our lives. Exactly. For me, this is what changed the whole trajectory. I started with that. I started with my yes being yes, my no being no. Surrounding myself with people who I knew were living a level of life that I wanted to live, seeing things in front of me, just like I showed you from the quote deck, and constantly reminding myself that it is my responsibility to live that vibrant life. Nobody else's. You can't do vibrant, though, if you're giving your time away to everyone else, everyone who's asking for it. You're in charge of your own life. You are responsible for your output of what it is that you're going to produce. And one day, well done, my good and faithful servant. You want to hear that? Then start getting your yes straight and your no straight as well. I love you guys.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.